Hi, I'm Billy Joe, and I have the pleasure of talking to you about zone proximal development, or also known as ZPD. What exactly is zone of proximal development? This is the space or the gap that is formed from the actual development level that is determined by one's own ability to problem solve and the level of potential development with an assistant. Um, Lev Vygotsky believed interaction with peers was an effective way of developing and strategizing different skills. With these type of assistants, he covers over three different types of assistance or intervention per se. So you have cultural tools. So in America, we have television, YouTube, different type of technology, books. So those help books is different assistance in problem solving. Then you have cooperative, which is taking a peer, so of like age groups, especially in a school setting, and where you have one peer that may be struggling in something, and then you have a peer that is more advanced. You group them together. So the one peer that's more advanced can help and assist that one child to reach that full potential that we know that that child can reach. And then we have an adult. So the adult can be pretty much anybody. It could be the teacher, a parent, a tutor that's helping that child to reach that full potential. So anytime we implement an assist for that child, so we have that baseline problem solving, and then we've got them to their potential with an assistance. Once we remove that assistance, then we have a natural line of progression, or a line of natural progression. This is where the student is going to digress or go. They're not going to be able to maintain potentially that same level of understanding or problem solving once that assistant has been removed. However, they have the potential to get there with practice and revisiting some of those assistants along the way, and eventually less and less of the assistance that would be needed for them to meet that full potential. We also have scaffolding in this. Vygotsky never really used this word per se in his writings, but however, it goes into zone proximal development. Wood, however, did use the word scaffolding in his writings of this. So effective scaffolding is interest. So having the interest, gaining the interest of the child to learn. So making it relatable per se. So task, breaking it up into small, manageable, achievable tasks. So the student doesn't lose themselves with too many steps or too many tasks to achieve to get to the next level. Emphasizing on the solution. So making sure you're not losing yourself in all the other white noise that might be going around, focusing on the solution of the problem. Control. So control of this is controlling the child's frustration. Understanding when the child's getting frustrated, helping them with emphasizing on the solution, making those small tasks manageable, achievable tasks, and ensuring that you're keeping the child engaged, knowing when their limits are. So maybe taking multiple breaks to keep them engaged, maybe the rewards and so forth like that. But that's a way of controlling frustrations, because once a child has reached frustration, then there's really no problem solving happening at that time. Demonstrate. So demonstrate can go back to that assistance. You can reference to the assistance. Demonstrating is that cultural tools, could be YouTube, looking at a YouTube video, seeing how something is done, or seeing how to effectively do something. Cooperative, or that group work, is that peer showing them or demonstrating on how to problem solve and how to get to that full potential. The adult, the teacher, is also showing them or demonstrating on how to get to that full potential with that. Then we have guidelines for instruction. Says it pretty much goes in a line with effective scaffolding. So current knowledge, knowing where the child's current knowledge is. So if the current knowledge is here, you know you're not going to try to start up here. You're going to know their current knowledge. You're going to assess what their potential can be, have that peer, that intervention, that assistance to work with them in small tasks to get them to them. Make it relatable. Make the problem solve relatable to whatever it is. Once again, going back to small manageable task, you want to make it small manageable task. So you don't want to start here and leap over here to get to that potential level, but you want to start with small little increments and just build on of a layering effect. Verbal cues, this is maybe where a student is having some difficulties. You did some really hands-on assist, and now you're starting to scale back a little bit. They're starting to understand it, but they may still need some verbal cues. And this is where they're potentially going to more of the mastery or reaching that full potential. And they still need those little verbal hints. And with that small, subtle hint, it triggers their memory in order to do something or to remember how to problem solve that. With scaffolding, Woods and Middleton in 1975 did a study. This was a child building a 3D model. So it was a child of the age of 4 building a 3D model. Obviously, the child at the age of 4 was not successful at building the 3D model. So with the parent's assist, he was able to build the 3D model. So mom would say, go get 4 blocks, get 4 blocks. Go get 3 pegs, bring back 3 pegs, put the pegs in the blocks. And then slowly but surely, with the assist of the mother, they were able to build the 3D model in hopes eventually the child would be able to build this without the assist. So zone proximal development is mainly looking at and mainly seen as an assist of meeting the full potential of that. So let me look at the example. So more knowledgeable other is another example. So say, you're on a sporting team. In our reading, it was talking about tennis. I'm not a big tennis player, so I didn't completely 100% get it, but it was mainly about talking about a striking of the tennis racket in that reading. And this tennis player was doing everything step by step by step, performed it perfectly, executed step by step, but however, was still not hitting the ball in where it needed to be. So go get a more knowledgeable other person. So coach comes in, watches, and notice her hand placement was slightly off. She was stepping, she was doing the swing and everything else correct, but her hand placement wasn't correct. So the more knowledgeable other corrected the hand placement, and voila, she was extremely successful. And that was kind of like her ace in her back pocket in executing and playing tennis from there. So it just took bringing in that knowledgeable other to relook at something, and was very successful at that. So we have educational application with this as well. So teachers plays an important role in mediating the children's learning activity as they share their knowledge through social interaction. Scaffolding is important for effective teaching that includes, but not limited to, providing hints and cues and adapting the material and activity for the student. So you're constantly in evaluating, looking at the student, and changing the curriculum or the activities for that. Reciprocal teaching is when the teacher and the student collaborates together and practice 4 key skills. It's summarizing, questioning, clarifying, and predicting. And as the time goes on, the teacher scales back on this, and the student is doing more of this. So the teacher's role is reduced with this in the educational. So once again, teacher is very much involved in this, teacher and students working together. Then as time goes on, teacher pulls back, and now they're able to work and perform and do these solutions and problem solves on their own. Collaborative learning is, we kind of already touched based on this again, is when you take group members have different levels of ability, and you're putting the advanced peers that needs the assist as well. So you're not putting everybody that's on the same level together. What you're doing is you're kind of mix and mingling the different levels. So a person here, here, and here might be in a group, and together they will all meet that full potential of all students. You're not going to stick all 3 students at this level in one group, because you're not having that zone of proximal development. You're not creating that zone. So where that student here is not going to get up here, because you're putting all those students that's down here in the same group. So it's important that you have different levels or different knowledge levels in this group collaborating together with that. So all in all, with zone of proximal development, or SPD, is all about assisted learning or assisted intervention, and then slowly but surely pulling back where that student can meet that full potential or that mastery level of that skill set knowledge with that. We talked about in the last, the cognitive development theory was the Frond dollhouse study. This is where Frond, she looked at both of the discovery learning and the SPD learning with this. So she asked a group of children between the age of 3 and 5 to decide where the placement of various furniture was going to be in a dollhouse for a puppet. She assessed what the children already knew about the placement of the furniture based on the baseline measurement. So she formed that baseline knowledge of where these students knew where to put their stuff at. She then had them to work on a similar task. One group with either alone, so it was discovery-based learning, and the other group was placed with their mother, so guided learning. So discovery-based learning was I'm drawing a blank here, was Piaget's through discovery, through cognitive discovery theory. So, and then SPD was Vygotsky, which was assisted by the mother. So once they did this, then they were once again set off to do a more complex task of sorting furniture. And what she noticed was the ones that had assisted help by their mother actually performed the complex task better than, or was successful at it than the discovery learning that Piaget proposed in cognitive discovery theory. So thank you for listening to my zone of proximal development. The biggest key takeaway from this is all about assisted learning, cooperative learning, working with others, finding that where that little gap that needs to be filled with where the child's level or the learner's levels here, their baseline without any intervention, and then you give somebody with where they can get their full potential, so that intervention, that assistance, and then you form a line of natural regression within there, so you're meeting that in the middle. So slowly but surely you're pulling back those assists, and then they can reach their full potential with that. So it's a gradual step with assist. So it's assist learning with that. Thank you, and have a fabulous day.